This might be a controversial topic, which I don't really know why, because literally half the population menstruates and have done so for all of history. Brother, your mom had period, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But how did they deal with it? It's a difficult topic because a little bit like nowadays, whenever you mention the topic of menstruation or period, everyone freaks out. And it was the same in the past. Up to, let's say, mid-19th century, no one really discussed it anywhere. You didn't really have articles or ads about it because it was completely taboo, and it's difficult to find even mentions of periods in people's diaries or letters. It's just not something they necessarily wrote about. So our best bet is spoken history, medical records, patents for menstruation-related devices. So here's what I found out, mostly thanks to some research websites that I will link in the description, but I did find some other stuff as well. So some historians believe that women were just straight up free bleeding through their clothes. Even in some rural communities from the times of our grandparents, that was often the case. What I don't understand is why they would willingly risk destroying their clothes and shoes in times when they were scarce. And on the other hand, if someone was going out and about and menstruating was such a huge taboo, why would you risk compromising yourself by leaving a puddle of blood behind? This is a quote from Obstetrics, the Science and the Art by Charles Delusina Meigs from 1852. I have seen some, not a few women, who assured me they had never used any other precaution than that of putting on a thicker petticoat for fear of the exposure of their condition. Such persons must be very slightly hemorrhagic, since the want of a guard napkin would otherwise be sure to expose their condition by stains of blood upon their feet or stockings. So even in 1852, this guy was like, wouldn't that kind of pour down your legs? And I think it's important to note that in the past, up until almost interwar period, women's underwear was not actually covering their private parts. They either didn't wear any, or it was split. The crotch was split, so then it's not like there was already a garment that was holding the blood in place. It would literally drip down your legs and ruin your whole underwear, which is why I'm so eager to put it to the test, because how? You know what, I'm beginning to think they were onto something, because just the chemise and the drawers are already enough layers for me to feel like I don't think it's ever gonna fall down to my knees or ankles. So maybe that's how they did it, I don't know. But how are you gonna mimic a free flow? I'm glad you asked. I bought balloons. I'm gonna try and fill up this one a little bit and then maybe stick it to my leg and cut it a little bit. That's the plan, I don't know. I kind of want to mimic a full flow. Like, what would happen if I wore it the whole day? Right, I taped it on one end. I'm gonna stick it to the side of my leg, inside my thigh. And then when the time comes, I'm gonna puncture it and see what happens. So, what do you do for a living? Oh, nothing. I just tape a balloon full of fake blood to my inner thigh to test Victorian menstruation methods. Okay, now I'm gonna puncture it first, and then we're gonna cut it, just in case puncturing is enough. I don't think it is. How do I even access it without looking weird? I don't think I can. Oh. My neighbor. I just saw a neighbor. Please don't look my way. Okay, I think the pin is a failure. We're moving on to scissors. How do I go about it without breaking the whole thing at once? Okay, my neighbor's coming back. Sir, I'm free bleeding here. Actually, I might secure the balloon a bit better because I can feel it falling off. Okay, I'm gonna make the tiniest cut and then turn right around. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's in my... Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, it's on my leg. Oh no, oh no, oh no. This is a lot worse than I expected, but it feels very real. It's on my stocking, I can feel it on my stocking. Oh, I refuse to believe they did it. Before this, I wasn't quite sure, but now I 100% refuse to believe that they put up with it. Give me a rag any time of the day. I feel so disgusting right now. Oh, hell no. Oh, it's on the other leg as well. Oh, this is so disgusting. We're gonna give it some more time. This is exactly what leaking on your period feels like. If you've ever leaked on your period, that's how it feels like. It's not nice. Why am I doing this to myself? This is science. This is science. This is science. It's also on the floor. Guys, it is on the floor. Oh, I cannot describe what's happening underneath this petticoat right now. Oh, hell no. I have to say, the balloon worked quite well because I genuinely feel like I'm on my period right now. Oh gosh, okay. Are we ready? Okay, there ain't no way in hell they put up with that willingly. Please, let's be realistic here. Who would, in the right mind, go through stuff like this just because? No. 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 It's in my shoes. It's on my stocking, it's on my drawers, it's on my petticoat. This is a sensory hell. And it's on the floor as well. So if anyone had doubts whether or not I was menstruating, there you have it. This is why you need experimental archaeology, because on paper it sounds like maybe women did it, but then no. 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 There ain't no way. No way. That's my verdict. Absolutely not. You've probably heard of the saying to be on the rag. And I think when I hear it, my imagination goes to like taking a piece of rag, placing it in between your legs and calling it a day. Now, because as I said, women's underwear back then was A, open and B, very loose. You couldn't really just stuff a piece of cloth in between your legs. There was nothing to stuff it into. So what would usually happen is you would have two pieces of fabric, sort of sumo style. So you would have one piece of fabric around your waist, and from that piece of fabric you would either tie or pin another piece of fabric that went front to back. From the same book from 1852. For the most part, as soon as the menses are perceived to begin to flow, the woman applies a T-bandage consisting of a napkin called the guard, folded like a cravat, which is pressed against the genitalia, while the ends are secured to a string or ribbon tied around the body above the hips. I'm assuming this was probably only as effective as the quality of the fabric used, which was probably most of the time quite rubbish because that's like the last purpose. However, women did wear a lot of layers on top, so it's possible that leaks didn't happen too often. I guess we're gonna have to try. I can kind of feel it digging into my private parts already. And if it's not super tight, then it's too loose and you know, it's not good. So it definitely had to be tight. Sumo chic. You know, it probably worked good enough for women to use it for hundreds of years. So I'm gonna give it some credit. Sanitary belts were basically the same thing as rags, with a T-shaped structure, except improved. As you can imagine, the amount of liquid that a simple rag could hold was limited, and it needed frequent changing. So sanitary belts simplified that, because the absorbing part was removable, and you could just swap the product for a new one. Another benefit was that rags and early pads soaked through a lot, so belts sometimes had that protective layer in the crotch that you then put the pads in, and that prevented leakage. Supposedly. Again, same book from 1852. Many female patients have assured me they never use less than a dozen napkins upon each catamenial occasion. And 15 and even 20 such changes are not very rare in the history of healthy menstruations. An ounce to a napkin is perhaps not an excessive computation. You could either use a piece of fabric, some cotton, wool, or specially designed sanitary towels. Some were also single-use, so they were already thinking, okay, you need to change them a lot. We are getting very close to modern period products here. This part should be longer, but you get the idea. It's basically having a pad without having underwear. Honestly, it feels pretty secure. It feels much more secure than the rag. And then to change it, you would just have to undo it. Whew. So pretty good. And then some sanitary belts would also have a part here that would be leak through, and then you would put the pad inside this bit here. Making historical pads. Gonna cut them out, sew them together, then fill them with different stuff. So I'm reading that the average period is like 2 to 3 tablespoons of blood, which A, doubt, but B, why are they always just counting blood? They're never telling you how much liquid actually leaves your body, because I can tell you, for me and my friends, it's not 2 to 3 tablespoons. I would say it's maybe 2 tablespoons each time I go to the bathroom for like 4 days straight. And my flow is not even that heavy. So why is science not interested in what comes out of our body yet? Like, I need those stats, I need the numbers. So anyway, for this experiment I will be eyeballing it, because I refuse to believe that it's 2 tablespoons for like the whole period. Be for real. I understand it can be diluted, I understand there's other factors, that's why we're gonna make it more realistic. This is raw sheep wool pressed, I think, from what I understand, and we're gonna put it here and then see how well it works. I bought this fake blood, and I have to say it has the right consistency and the right color, so hopefully we have enough of that. I have 3 bottles like this. Bruh. Okay, why? Oh my god, what is going on? I think I have to dilute it. Why does it look like that? To be fair, it's also kind of realistic, because you just got a blood clot. Inside this pad is a thick layer of felted wool. This is how much blood I'm gonna pour over it. Okay, here goes nothing. It's not really soaking in. Like, if I moved, it will literally spill. I'll give it another minute and then I'll see. It's been a couple of minutes. What I've noticed is, because the top layer is cotton, it's beginning to soak through. So I'm assuming after a while it will just start soaking this way, which is not ideal, and I must admit I have seen it happen in period undergarments, modern period undergarments, where blood sort of soaks through the sides. Not ideal. But overall, I think this is from my finger, so it has not soaked through. So pretty good. Honestly, this looks the closest to what a modern pad has inside. I'm gonna put it into one of the fabric pads and we'll see how that works. Okay, this one is filled with cotton. This is actually so exciting. Like, I've always wanted to do this watching those stupid ads where they just pour blue liquid on it. Oh, man down, man down. No. It does not absorb well at all. Okay, this does not resemble an actual menstrual flow at all. Oh boy. It didn't soak through. It did drop where I poured it, but it did not soak through the cotton. Ah, no! This is something I've actually only seen on a patent, so I'm really curious if any women actually tried this one out. This design basically had a hollow center, and you would pull a wired structure through the hollow center. And then when the pad was full, you would undo the wire on one side of the belt, slide it off the wire, and slide a new pad on. So imagine those toilet roll holders, and the pad is basically a toilet roll, and you're wearing a toilet roll holder in your crotch. Guess we're gonna have to try. Okay, this was originally in the patent described as being made of soft paper. I don't have soft paper, I just used the waterproof fabric that I have for something else that you're gonna find out soon, but this is gonna be the core, and then I'm gonna wrap it in this, like so, and then this is gonna be the top layer. Okay, we've got a pad burrito. Will this go in? I think it will. Okay, Ah! No! Okay, I'm gonna do the back first. Is sliding it on really that simple? No, it's not. How do you even... Oh my god. This is the most vulnerable I've ever been in a video. Just trying to roll a cotton pad onto a wire in between my legs. There must be a fetish for that. Okay, it's going. But I made it a bit too short, but basically you would attach it here I have to say, it feels quite secure. It feels quite secure and it's quite comfortable. It's quite soft. It's not too bad. Like, I like the feeling of this pad, but I have to say the wire is quite annoying to put on and off. Let's see how much blood this baddie absorbs. Kind of feel bad for ruining the prototype I just made, but let's see. No! Why does it all keep rolling right off? So the other side probably looks like a bloodbath. What I want to know is how many layers of cotton it goes through by the time I'm done with this, so we're gonna see. Oh, I have to say, I think it's actually done pretty well. I'm gonna cut the top layer open just so we can see how much of it actually went inside. This is honestly pretty good. Like, this is what a normal pad would probably look like if you just cut it open. If it weren't for the fiddly part with the wire, this might be the best one yet. And it's quite comfortable as well, surprisingly. This is actually a later idea from early 20th century, but some came up with this design of tightly knitted woolen pads. This is actually not stupid, as thick wool could probably hold quite a lot of liquid, but I'm assuming it might have gotten heavy and uncomfortable. We'll see about that. Now, for an actual knitted pad, I would have to use proper wool, but it would feel very bad to cut a woolen sweater just to use it as a pad and, you know, dump it in blood. So instead I bought this H&M, of course 100% polyester thing, and it's not gonna behave like wool, but I hope that this sort of structure will give us some idea what knitted pads may have behaved like. I have to say I have some hopes for the knitted one because it seems like structurally it's the one that is most adjustable. Like, it will just mold to your body in a way. I will show you what I mean. So if you pull it, it just becomes narrower, and then if you do this, it can stretch out and be wider. So I'm just assuming, depending on your size and everything, it's the one that's most flexible, literally and figuratively. So I kind of want to see how it does, and I really don't want it to fail. But also I do know that it's not actual wool and that the knit is quite, like, there is quite big gaps in it. That was a big boy. I'm full of hope, but I think when I flip it over, I'm gonna be very disappointed. However, I will give it some time to soak in. Okay, why am I actually stressed out? Absorption reveal, and it soaked through, just as I thought, kind of. It's not too bad, but it's not holding well. However, with a protective layer underneath, like with a sanitary belt, that could actually kind of work. Sponges were also used as pads or as filling to the sanitary belts. As demonstrated in these patents from late 19th century, to keep them in place, you would basically have a container for the sponge of some sort. But I have a feeling these didn't work great. I have a feeling they leaked a lot and they didn't allow 100% fit. This sponge is a little unhappily empty in the middle, like there is a hole, which is not ideal. I have a feeling it doesn't absorb that well. Just a feeling. Oh! No! No! Okay, this is strange. Okay, it's on the fabric. And that one's on the fabric as well. Oh! Okay, maybe the shape of it isn't ideal. I'm gonna leave it because I want to know if the areas under the sponge will have some leaks. Okay, the moment of truth. I'm expecting 3 dots and that's it. Oh! Okay, this is pretty good then. It didn't leak at all, not even in the middle. Okay, I kind of missed the middle, but if it was cut to the right shape and completely flat, I think it might have been one of the best ones yet. When I was researching patents related to menstruation, I found some wild designs. A lot of them involved a sort of a funnel that you inserted, you know where, so like an early menstrual cup, and then you had a tube from that to a sack and you collected the blood in the sack. Not gonna lie, these looked like they didn't work at all. It's basically like an early menstrual cup design, but instead of collecting the blood inside the cup, it collects the blood in your crotch, which is such an odd idea. Let's go. We've got the sack, we've got the funnel, and then we've got this bad boy. Hell yeah, this was actually 100% accidental. I just ordered whatever I thought is best, and this one was the smallest I can find. This is perfect. Okay, let's cut this boy. I don't think it should be too long. Woohoo! Oh my god, okay. It is so on. This would go inside, and this would be between your legs. Sort of squished like this. What I want to see is if this could even work for something like a blood clot, because it's all fun and games when your blood's sort of flowing and gushing, but when it looks like this bad boy here, will it even go through? So let's examine that. Should I zoom in? I'm actually so excited to do this. This is what I thought chemistry classes would look like. Okay, this one goes, the blood goes right through. Here comes the big boy. Ew! Oh no. Okay, it's stuck. So any amount of blood that comes after the blood clot is not gonna make it, probably. Ah! No! Don't fall, don't fall. I leave it here just to see what happens. Like, will it ever fall down there? Yeah, it's stuck, it's not going down. Also, I have to say, obviously this is fake blood, so the blood clot was actually created by probably starch. However, in structure it seems very similar to the real deal, and it's not going to go down this little pipe. The blood clot's been there for so long, I'm actually becoming attached. Should I give him a name? So our guy Steven absolutely clogged this device up, and it's not going anywhere. Yep, that's stuck. That is game over. Tampons existed. They were used mostly for medical conditions and medical situations, such as when we had a hemorrhage. But they have also sometimes been used for menstruation, especially if you had a really heavy flow. So this book from 1847 explains the use of tampons. In those severe cases when the gush of blood is almost instantaneous, okay, this is clearly about hemorrhage and not period blood, and so great as to endanger life in a very short time, we may employ temporarily mechanical means to prevent it. The best of which, and the most readily prepared, is called the tampon or plug. It may be made of linen rag, cotton or sponge, in the form of a ball, and introduced into the vagina like a pessary. It should be large enough to completely fill up the passage, but must not be introduced more than about 2 inches, for fear of irritating and inflaming the mouth of the womb, which is then very sensitive. And here are some instructions on how to make your own tampon. A very good way to make the plug is to cut out round pieces of soft linen cloth, then pass a stout thread through the middle of each and press them close together till the mass is an inch thick. The string is convenient for pulling it out again and should always be attached to every one. I have a feeling that's kind of how the modern tampons are constructed. Let's try this. Okay, is this round enough? I will have several layers of those, then put the needle through it, and it should come up to something resembling a modern tampon, actually. Okay, so I've got several round pieces of cloth as per instructions, and now I'm assuming the needle and thread has to come right through the middle, so then it looks like that, which is, honestly, it's pretty much a modern tampon, except made of a different material. I'm gonna attach a better string. There you have it, a Victorian tampon. Actually doesn't look too bad compared to the other things. Okay, for the tampon I think we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna have some blood in this and then pop it in. I feel like I should hold it so it's more realistic that way. Okay, I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes in this very uncomfortable position. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It got most of this stuff in, apart from like the very thickest. We have some alternative tampon techniques as well. A small bag filled with tan or ashes or sawdust soaked in alum water is also very excellent. These plugs should not be withdrawn in a hurry unless severe symptoms supervene, and when they are removed, care must be taken not to disturb or irritate the parts. Okay, I'm not gonna test this one on myself, but we are going to test how much liquid it can absorb. Don't mind the state of me, I had a cold, but tell me, why did I not check the amount of sawdust that I will be getting for like a really small price? Because I was thinking, okay, it's probably not that much. Bruh. First of all, AI label, god damn it, but second of all, what do I need this for? I'm just gonna donate it somewhere because I need this much. This is not very well done, but I have to fill this with sawdust. Well, I have a feeling it would have been ground smaller. Like, I kind of understand the thought process behind it because it does seem like very good material in terms of absorbing, but at the end of the day, that's wood though. But also, let's remember that tampons were supposed to be a medical, even surgical last resort option. So if I'm bleeding out, bring the wood out. You know what? I don't care. I don't know why I thought it's gonna be like this is genuinely wood. I'm gonna show you. These are actually chunks of wood. Now, it did say to soak it first, so I'm gonna do that and then put it in the blood. Okay, let's go. Why does it look like a tea bag? To be fair, it doesn't look like it's collecting much, but I'm gonna leave it there. I don't know why I thought it's gonna work. Maybe it's the size of the sawdust. Just imagining this stuff breaking inside of you is giving me heebie-jeebies. So this one is again a bit later, it's an early 1900s invention, but in case your flow was super heavy, in case you had stuff to do and were worried about exposure, or if you just wanted to protect your dresses even more, there were sanitary aprons available. Those were basically cut like regular aprons, except they covered your back instead of the front. Honestly sounds cool and it's not a stupid idea, but those aprons were usually rubberized, meaning you sat your ass on rubber for days. That's the only problem I have with them, otherwise the idea seems rather cool. But I wonder how effective they were. Okay, so as I'm doing this, we're also going to see if the sanitary apron works. I'm gonna pin it in place. Let me just put my phone, you know what? This is actually not a bad spot at all. Oh, I can't walk, help. Okay, let's try the sanitary apron. To be fair, I don't actually know if it would leak through my petticoat otherwise. Just pinning it in place. Now we're gonna get a chair. Bruh. Ugh. And we're gonna wait. Because if it's gonna soak through, then it needs time, right? So imagine I'm embroidering. I will have a lot of washing to do by the end of this. Thank God I made the drawers especially for this video, so I don't really feel bad about staining them in any way, but I don't think they're gonna stain. They do look pretty bad though. And my leg is so red. Oh my God. Clean, effective. Too bad I would have to sit on actual rubber if it was a Victorian sanitary apron. In this category, anything goes. As with everything in human history, especially medicine, it was very much trial and error. And the fact that we ended up with solutions we did was just as much this is what works best as it was completely incidental, probably. So here are some alternative solutions that they came up with. There was a lot of patents that were supposed to solve that problem, which was the female menstruation. We got this container, which is kind of like a menstrual cup, but outside the body, which again screams of leakage to me. Some rubber containers that were filled with wool or sponge. This boat-like contraption, which looks like they did not know female anatomy at all. And a literal sack, and it was invented by a woman, no less. So they were all clueless, if you ask me. But I have to say, it looks like we are also now looking into alternative ways of dealing with our periods. And honestly, I don't think it's gonna be long until we start getting contraptions and designs that will be very closely inspired by the Victorian ones, because we always run in circles. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, let me know which method surprised you the most and which you think is absolutely useless. And that's all. Bye.